What is going on, boys? Welcome back for episode 6 of the SRA Grid Report. How we doing tonight?
Great.
Wow.
Sounds like it, buddy.
Man of many words.
I feel so
Great.
ecstatic to be back.
Your voice sounds as stiff as the textbooks you've been probably sleeping on.
Yeah.
Dude, don't get me fucking started, man. These textbooks can go away.
Life of a lawyer.
I am so ready for for winter break.
And I
It
bet,
is right around the corner.
yep, it is right around the corner. But it is also time to move past Misano, put away our umbrellas, and get ready for some dry racing. But who picked a track that's only one car wide? We're headed to
Uh,
Snetterton this week with the
yeah.
return of the 40-minute pit window.
Hmm.
Yeah. This I was doing some practice yesterday and this track is gonna be definitely the one to be the most consistent at. Because if you don't and you struggle, you lose a couple positions going off track, it's gonna be very hard to make those up again.
Yeah, it's definitely a track that demands staying in the flow. You definitely have
Yep,
to keep the car moving, and like you said, you fall out of that flow or off the track, it's going to be tough to get yourself back. But
for sure.
Lucas, are we going to see you racing this week, or do you have another exam?
Uh, my last exam is Monday, so the plan is to be there. Will I
Or
be successful on the track? Pending.
you
But the
heard
plan
it
is
here
to be
first,
there.
folks. We're going to have a new intro next week.
Oh,
Oh God. Oh no.
Lucas, as they said in the movie Shang-Chi by Trevor Slattery, stay in the pocket, stay in the pocket.
Jesus Christ.
Gotta love the quotes. But enough looking ahead. Let's take a couple steps backwards and at least look at the podiums of that race that I don't know. It was a lot of fun having a wet race at Misano. I've done it before a couple times. For some reason, that's a track that tends to pop up wet, or at least in my experiences. But yeah, I'd like to forget it.
I think it's uh, the thing that it's in Italy kind of makes it always seem to be wet.
Could be.
Just the common occurrence. But I've never done it wet, so never done it. Period, shall I say?
Yeah, that's.
Um,
Oh, sorry, Luca.
No, I was gonna say, on a scale of 1 to fun, how much fun did you have on
Oh, I
Wednesday?
had a blast, but I mean, we'll talk about it later. But our race was chaos. I mean, we weren't the only one, but um, D2 definitely had the most challenging qualifying, I would say. And race in general, just because of qualifying. But we can talk about that later when we get there. Don't want to skip around, you know.
No, of course not.
Exactly. Just a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah,
foreshadowing to make sure you stick around for when we get to D6.
exactly.
But
But yeah, I had a blast. I don't know about you, Josh.
yeah, I did have a lot of fun, but
Yeah,
like you were saying, when we get there, we'll talk all about what made that not as much fun as some would have.
for sure.
But D6, a very quiet race for them this week, only chiming in with, I believe it was 12 drivers participating.
That is correct.
But we saw the podium of Fari Henry, Anthony Calvi, and Cole Compton. I don't believe the VOD is up yet. We're still having some issues with the uploading, so I haven't had a chance to look back at it. But
I'll tell you here in a second if it is. I know D5, D6 is up on YouTube.
well, it turns out I am just slacking then.
It
So,
was it was up a day ago, so
yeah, I'm slacking and slacking. But from what I have heard, D6 has lost their clean racing title, but as is to be expected with a race like this.
yeah, wet and my Sano was a pretty rough mixture. So having not if they came out clean, that would have been, I think, the greatest achievement of all. But here we are.
Yeah, the track is there's a lot of corners that switch back on themselves, and especially in the wet, it's kind of tends to lead to incidents. But even then, I wasn't that many. I believe it was only a handful.
Yeah,
Looking at the Looking at the penalties right now, actually, nobody was even handed a penalty in Division 6. So even if there was an incident, it was a no reported incidents.
Yep.
So
Well,
I
and
guess
that means no lap one auto tickets either.
yeah. So I guess still hats off to D6 putting on the showmanship for us, and I guess what we should all aspire to race like. No matter how many cars are in their grid, they're doing it right.
Exactly. Just a
But
couple of kings.
exactly. Division 5 saw Sean Daniels, William Forsling, and Ren Aoki take the podium. I had the honor of getting back in the booth and recording the VOD for D5, and that race was a whole bunch of fun to watch. Another very clean lap one, common amongst these lower divisions. Very close racing throughout most of the race, and the incidents you did see were mostly self-inflicted wounds.
Hmm.
The never-ending backhand that is turn 12, that right-hander off the back straight. I think it's 12 or it might be 13, but that turn and the braking zone going into it was just wreaking havoc on the Division 5 field and helping them all get a few drive-throughs.
Yeah.
We didn't run the counter like Division 3 did, but I think we might have beat them.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna ask you was how Division 5 turned out with the drive-throughs, because Division 4 was ugh, there was a lot of not just drive-throughs but stop-go 30s as well.
Yeah, it was mostly drive-throughs. I think there was one stop go 30, if I remember correctly. But again, just you get off in that spot on the track and your instinct is to get back on the throttle and give the car a bit of a power slide to stay out of the sand, and then
Hmm.
you end up staying on the gas, getting back on the track, and the game just counts that mini sector as very purple. So
Yeah.
you've gained time off the track, and here's a track limit.
Yeah, even though that's I had that issue. I had a couple myself where I'd go off track. Definitely would lose positions, but or lose time, but would still gain that track warning. It was pretty backwards.
Yeah,
I was from what I was hearing around the league while I was popping in and out was that this track has unforgiving uh track limits during the wet.
yeah,
Is that
Yes.
correct?
I
Yes.
could see that.
Yeah. But the thing is with this track, we can touch on it now. In the dry, to be quicker on this track, you have to take all of the curbs on corner entry, corner exit. That's where you are the fastest. That's where you gain the most time. But in the wet, you want to do everything in your power to stay off the curbs, especially in the braking zone.
Oh yeah. There's uh there's a few corners where you can brake at the same point on the road and just touch the curb ever so slightly in a
Hmm.
second run from the same point and you will blow straight through the corner.
Yep. Like
Just
almost like it was ice.
exactly. It's freaky. There's a
Yeah.
lot of standing water on that track. Even though like moving up the divisions and even in this division they had a big field, the track doesn't form a dry line that fast. Or at least I didn't find so.
I felt like having watched the D4 race that our track compared to the D4 track was significantly drier. D4 just didn't have a dry line whatsoever in the entire race.
D5 took, I'm gonna say 10 laps, 12 laps to form a dry line at all.
Wow.
Like even the
Yeah.
slightest bit of one. But after that it stayed through. But yeah,
Was it raining pretty heavily?
it
For
did
the
rain
race?
pretty hard for I would say predominantly all the divisions through the race. Like
Yeah,
medium rain, if not heavier.
some tracks. I know D3. Just talking to a couple of the guys saying that the track was actually pretty dry and was pretty warm, and their tires were ballooning to like 33 psi.
Oh wow.
Oh
So
wow.
Talk about a
yeah,
nightmare situation. You get yourself set up
yeah.
for a wet race and then boom.
Well, because I mean, you don't want to go in and change them because then you're losing a minute, 30,
Exactly.
30 seconds to a minute.
Give me
So
that
yeah.
give me that onboard deflator for my tires, like the off-road trucks got.
Yeah, that would be very handy, but might weigh you down a bit.
More buttons for the driver to push. It's gonna turn into a
Exactly.
spaceship.
Yeah, almost these wheels don't have enough buttons on them already.
Exactly. You see these sim
They
wheels,
need they
man?
need
They're just
more.
adding like 185 buttons,
I
16
know.
turn wheels. Put it in a road car. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
slightly off topic, but the Sim Racing Expo was this week or last week,
I heard about that. There was
and
a lot of cool stuff there.
I was watching a video that Jadier just posted on his YouTube channel. The wheels that are coming out are like visually very stunning, and the amount of buttons that these things have is insane.
Oh yeah. The one that
Yeah.
gets me is that new Bentley wheel. Where the
That the
screen stays like a
yeah.
gyro, it stays parallel at all times.
But these prices, though.
Yeah, don't like those.
No, I don't either. I don't know who in their right mind would ever pay for that.
Oh yeah.
How much is it?
I think the Bentley wheel's like close to $2
Uh,
grand, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
something
up
like
there
that.
with the Beamer wheel.
$1,000?
Yeah, the Fanatec Beamer wheel is like 1,500, I think.
It doesn't even have a screen.
No, but the selling point for the Fanatec Beamer wheel is if you're running the BMW M4 GT3, you got
can-
that parked in your garage. You could put that on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Odd flex.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gonna go drive my actual Beamer now. Don't mind
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, that wheel is $1,500.
No, thank you.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Tori, if you're listening to this, that's what you can get me for Christmas. How's that? You want to bug me so much?
There you go. That's my list.
Just one item, please, and just a
Yeah.
PLZ at the bottom.
Pretty please.
Yeah, I want to give before we move on to D4, I want to give a shout out in D5 to Ren Aoki, an absolute drive. I believe, if I remember correctly, something happened to him early on in the race and he fell down the field and charged
Mhm.
all the way back up to P3. And
That's impressive.
to be honest, I thought he was going to make a further push through the field, but clap to you, Ren. Good race, buddy.
That's
Congratulations.
very
All the
impressive.
D5.
Is he
It's
in
tough to do in the
the-
rain. It's very hard to make overtakes when you're braking on wet lines.
Yeah. Is he still in the GTR?
He is in the Ferrari.
He's in the Ferrari.
Yeah, Rene Oki's been here for a while, and it's good to see him improving.
Yep, there's always room for improvement, no matter how good you are. Sometimes you're right up there at the top skill set, and then new people join, and sorting happens, and all of a sudden you're in D2 or D3, or in Ren's case, down in D5.
Yeah,
But you just work your way back through the sort.
exactly. Motivation is what it is.
Let him know they got it wrong. Throw down the gauntlet.
The price is wrong, bitch. Oh man. Division 4. Chris Lorenzo coming home with a win. Zodi Fade returning to the podium in P2. And Matt Anastasi coming home in P3. We've got the once again the resident D4 man on board with us. What did you see?
Oh boy, what did I see? I saw Drive Through Maniac. I saw Stop Go 30s. Kind of like the D5, there was a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Not a lot of major incidents. There was one on lap 1. Wasn't too bad. A lot of people avoided it, but otherwise, there was a little bit of bumps throughout the race, but nothing too severe. So, in comparison to the higher ranked races, it was pretty clean. Chris Lorenzo was on another level. He was by himself, and Zodi Fade and Matt Anastasi were in the same boat, whereas there was a battle through the entire race for P4 and P5. So, yeah, that's about it. It was a pretty chill race, but a lot of action. So I wish we had the drive-through counter as well, because I believe we were north of 20.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How many repeat offenders do you think?
So the one that sticks out to me, I hate to call him out, but for the banter, crap, what's his name? Mr. Dreebs, Landon Dreebs, got a
Oof.
drive-through on the start for probably either too fast or was in the wrong position. Went to go serve it, got a stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. Then the next time he goes around to serve the stop go 30, gets another one for speeding in the pit lanes. Then towards the end of the race, he got another drive through.
We just get some Fs in the comments of
Yes,
this video
major
for that.
Fs.
Like that's
Maybe
not
a
with the
couple
temporary
Ls.
chat.
No.
Yeah. There is nothing wrong with that sequence. Absolutely not. That's according to the game plan for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, the Landons, which was Landon Dreebs and Landon P, were leading their championship, and I don't think they're atop of it anymore.
That's an absolute shame, but
It is, yeah,
as we do sit at that midway point of the season going into week 5, you still got some races left, but you got to start to be on the hard charge now. Can't afford another one.
for sure. And those guys that are in front are going to be doing their absolute best to keep it. So
That's for certain. Now the interesting thing that's gone on since we've last been here on the podcast is that Sunday, I believe it was, no, actually, it was yesterday. Dahi, our resident tech expert and handler of all things bot related, has implemented the drop race. So all of the standings for the driver series now reflect drop races in place. And for myself, I took a nice kick down from P2 to P5, but it's going to change things up. People who were facing like 5-point gaps before are now facing like 25-point gaps.
yeah,
So yeah, this back half of the season is going to be pretty interesting.
very crucial.
Some people were probably thinking that Misano was going to be a crucial race because rain races usually throw a lot of mix up into things, and great example of that in D2. But yeah, it's a bit of a critical race to try and bring home points, and yeah, that's going to be tough for them. Hopefully they didn't fall too far down the championship.
No, I think they're still top 3 maybe, but I mean we're halfway through, so they still got a lot of driving to do.
Those wins count for a lot of points.
They do.
Division 3. Now this is an interesting division. We see Kevin Lau taking the win, which is let me check something here because the penalties have been released. Kevin Lau has not won. Kevin Lau was given a 10-second penalty.
Wow.
So Max Diggs takes the win due to penalties. Jared Seckham clarified it somewhere.
I believe.
Comes home in P2, and because of that, I am not prepared with P3. Let me check the old website here.
I believe P3 stays with Calvin Lau. I believe the gap from P3 to P4 was over 10 seconds.
We are checking.
Checking. Question. Penalties have not been applied to the finishing yet. But 2, 3. Yes, Kelvin will retain P3 in the finish for Stardust.
Nice.
But yeah, Division 3 was interesting. Never mind this, I'm fairly certain they had a major collision on the last lap.
They did. It was for the top 2, who was Seckham and Kelvin Lau. Kelvin Lau just drove into the back of Seckham and drove off into the distance and somehow made up a 1.5 second gap on the last lap.
Yeah, it was very interesting to watch. They came together just in the early or late parts of Sector 1 before heading on to the small straight there. And
yeah, turn 5, 6.
Coming out onto the straightaway, Kelvin was side by side with Max, and the Porsche just absolutely rocketed away from that BMW. I don't have an explanation for that.
I don't
Besides
either.
maybe not nitrous or something. I don't know.
It could be.
He has a go fast button.
Put the old summer air in the intake.
It was very, very odd to see.
definitely. But
Especially because he was slower out of the corner after he just drove through Seckham.
yeah, I'm wondering
So
how
yeah.
much Diggs pulled off. Like looking at it a little bit, Diggs may have been running a little bit too wide and was worried about a track limits.
Hmm.
Maybe full on came off the gas and cut back, but I'm gonna try and get a clip up here so that everybody can see the actual event, maybe get some different angles of it. But
Yeah.
we it's wild and seemingly common to see these last lap battles amongst leaders, and unfortunately accidents.
Yeah.
I
It's
think back
also.
to Nürburgring with the incident in the hairpin
Hmm.
turn 11. I believe it was for P3.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it's also good to see that the battle for the lead is coming down to the last lap, to whereas it's not as exciting to see the one guy out in front win by 10 to 15 seconds.
Exactly. The competition is immense across these divisions, and D3 is just tight, tight, tight every race.
Yeah.
That's what we like to see. We don't like to see,
Exactly.
one-sided races.
Moving on up to the D2 side. Silver has locked out the podium, correct?
I believe Nick Wagner is gold.
Ooh. Ryan Walker takes the win. Peter Reynolds comes home in P2, and Nick Wagner in P3. D2 saw something that I talked about in the Division 5 race as, oh, I wonder if we'll ever see this happen. When we were broadcasting, we were talking about the qualifying element. We allow the silver drivers to go out first and the gold drivers to go out second. Um, kind of on the principle that the gold drivers earned the better track condition, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of the way we do it. Um, and we thought with these rainy conditions and whatnot, it's just like, what would happen if the silver drivers actually got the better track condition? And in D2, we saw that. It was extremely light rain at the start of the D2 quali. We saw times down, I believe, like almost 39s. I think it was a 40 point something, or was it a 41 point something?
41 point something, I believe.
Yeah, but still extremely fast compared to what we were doing in the wets. Like the fastest times in D1, I think, in medium wet condition were like 43.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, and then the gold class comes out and it kicks straight up to medium wet. And people were
Yes.
all over the place. I myself was 24th. Bailey, I'm pretty sure you were close to 30.
37th, bro. I was
30.
close to 40.
Oh, my brother in
Holy
Christ.
shit! Oh my
Yeah.
lord!
I was close to, because so what happened to me was I tried to like get out there as soon as I can to try and take advantage of that drier track. Um, so I had adjusted my tire pressures for it. By the time I got around, it was too late. So then I had to pit to fix them because my tires were just blown up into balloons. So I had to go around, or I had to go back into the pits. Then had to do another out lap, and they still weren't warm. So I did like another kind of banker lap, but I invalidated it. So then there was my official lap that actually counted was like literally the last lap. I crossed the line with like 3 seconds left, so I had the absolute last lap, and it was the fourth slowest time.
Oh,
That has to
wow.
be so nerve-wracking.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
That
I might as
then,
well have just stayed last.
yeah, knowing that like you can't like that is the last lap. You haven't put a lap down yet.
Yeah.
You have to do something. Oh god.
It was by far the hardest qualifying, just due to the fact that I knew we weren't going to be hitting those times that the silvers were, just due to the track conditions, and the fact that I was struggling with setup because it was set for such a drier condition, and I didn't know what I was going out on. So um, it was more of just adapting. But qualifying was one thing; the race was another. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, the race saw the lap 1 incident at turn 6.
Yeah,
And 6, 8, 10, 12 cars got turned around, stopped off track, like parked in the middle of the road, stalled. We saw one driver attempt to come back on track. Unfortunates of different skilled hardware, they weren't able to view all of the cars on track at all times to save CPU, and somebody played peekaboo with them, and ended up causing a contact. But nonetheless, a little bit of an unsafe re-entry, and yeah, needless to say, an absolutely wild way to start that race.
For sure. I mean, even we didn't even get to turn one yet,
Oh
and
no!
I came up to two cars off the road on both sides of the track.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
I did not see that.
No, I think it was behind you.
Yeah.
But there was that. So then they were trying to rejoin while we were 2-3 wide in the back. Then we stayed 2-3 wide all the way up to turn 6. Right as we got up to that incident, which caught more cars. By the end of lap 2 or 3, I can't remember. I went from 37th to 18th.
Wow. Charging.
Yeah,
Just that extra gap from all the cars that spun rest in peace.
exactly.
Just keep the nose clean.
Exactly. Part of that criticality of these wet races. I had a similar thing. I'm playing a little, or not playing anything, trying to find my way through a minefield, getting through that
Oh,
accident, and like
you would
I'm
think we were
zigging and
right.
zagging back and forth, and I'm like I
Yeah,
just don't hit anybody.
it was so chaotic that I compared it to the raid of Normandy Beach.
Wow.
That's what it felt like.
A little bit less
Okay.
explosions, but
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know about. I don't know. There was felt like there was explosions everywhere.
that's for sure a
that's
Strong
something you can
comparison.
compare
that's
to.
one comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, throughout the race, like after that, things started to settle out. I'm pretty sure. A lot of people, again, getting caught out by that back straight. Few people going for moves. I believe we saw, um, who was it? Russell Allen get over, make the overtake in the last lap, the second last corner, but going around the outside on the back straight.
Hmm. Yeah.
Getting overtaken. That's right. It was Nick Wagner making that overtake in the Lexus,
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
making it look easy.
I do know. I'd actually gotten passed by them at one point. I was struggling in the Audi at one point. They had passed me, and um, Russell Allen was defending like an absolute stud for like 7 laps. They were keeping the same gap to me for probably the last 20 minutes, I'd say. And I ended up just letting him go because the end of my race was pretty rough.
That's a shame to hear.
Yeah, but they definitely went at it for a very long time.
They did, and as much as the Ferraris all seem to be super powerful, uh, in the wet for some reason, or at least this weekend or this week, those Lexus on the straightaway were just rocket ships, man.
Yeah, they
They were
were.
moving. For a car that most people don't drive or don't think about driving, like it's a little bit of a sleeper.
Yeah, that's the way. I feel like there's way more Lexuses on track this season, just division wide. Compared to previous, there's, I mean, there's probably more Lexus than there is Audi, in
Th-
my opinion, from what I've seen
Yeah, there is only two Audi, but
in our division.
in our division, yeah,
Yeah,
there has been a resurgence in the Lexus this year. But going into this season, like I think there was what maybe two people in the Lexus, one team.
yeah. There might have been two teams at best,
Yeah, but striking car, very
for
strong
sure.
drive, and yeah, D2 again, very tight splits. A bunch of penalties getting handed out. Let me double check that any of them don't affect the leaders here. That's the previous week. I was like, why do I see a penalty for Luca? He wasn't even there.
That was, well, yeah, that was last week.
No, none affecting the leaders. So our podium remains the same. Um,
I do see, I do see a lap one auto from our boy Josh Damiani.
yes. Unfortunately, I was involved in an accident just
Oh
after
no.
getting through that bit of a minefield coming into the hairpin that followed. The
Mm,
Mercedes in front got a little bit back on brakes after the hairpin, and I couldn't react fast enough. Gave him a little touch.
Dangerous
so sad.
driver alert. Wee woo, wee woo.
Yeah, you know what? I will be the
Says the
first one
4
to
penalty
admit it.
points.
I will be
Amen.
the first one to admit it.
Amen. I'm not gonna start that conversation, but I should. That was too harsh of a penalty for me anyway. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just
I'm
gonna
not
put
here
it on
for
the record.
speculation. I'm not
I'm
here for
just, I'm
speculation.
just gonna
I'm here
put it
for
on the
entertainment.
record. Yeah, exactly. We're here for
Exactly.
the hot takes only.
Yes.
Tinfoil hats are only involved in Formula One talks.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh gosh. Yeah. The D2 penalty list is very, very large compared to others.
Yeah, it's just a
I
little
don't
bit.
see. I don't see why.
Yeah. I think qualifying set it up for like that. So whoever did this is at fault. Whoever set us up like this is very at fault.
Tyler, pitchforks at your front yard.
Mm.
And last but certainly not least, division number 1. Coming back to the top again, we see Matt Lehman taking the win, Ryan Yee in second place, and Jeremy Mercer taking home P3. I believe it's Jeremy's first time on the podium this season.
I believe that is correct.
I don't recognize him
The
from.
more important part is that Jeremy Mercer is actually 4th in the D1 championship.
That is correct. And again, after we implement those drop races, we see Ryan Yee with an absolute commanding lead on Division 1.
Yeah.
322 points to Brooker Quigg's 266.
That's like half a race.
Yeah. Well, it's more than a. No, it's not more than a win. 40.
It's like half a win.
56 points.
Yeah. And
That's half a win.
a win, yeah, the most points you can get is 111, so that's like right
Correct.
at it.
Correct. So that's yeah.
It's like right at half, which is unreal. Because Ryan Yee is one of those guys that if he gets in like a lap 1 accident, gets a little spin, he could go and make up top 5 easy.
Oh yeah, he is a driver nonetheless.
Yeah,
Got a lot of skill in his pants. That's for sure.
for sure. And to think that he started out D1 silver at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, he was a red placard at the start of the season. I'm pretty sure. So he's
Yeah.
automatically silver till he gets his sort. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the silver gold only really matters for who you're winning, beating the championship by. And if he got left in silver, I think we could wrap it up now.
I agree. I think stand a chance.
No. Looking over D1's penalty list and whatnot, it seems like it was a relatively clean race. A few incidents that were submitted but ended up being determined that they were no fault founds or just racing incidents. You know, a little bit of trading paint, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nothing to bat an eye at. But
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you know the actual answer. D1's qualifying was dry.
I heard the same thing.
Really?
Yes.
And that was a little bit of what some would call the SRA rain race, where you don't really know what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
and
was
it's
definitely dry. Ryan Yee took pole with a 33.3.
Oh, yep. I just switched. I went to go look at the stream, and it's very dry.
Quite literally
Very dry.
10
It was-
seconds faster than the fastest wet time we saw this weekend or this week.
Yeah.
We can say that the track was potentially optimum.
It might have been.
Potentially.
Yeah. Because a 33.3 is about 2 seconds quicker than my quickest time ever, even in dry.
Yeah. Well, they had a very tight split. Wow. 33.3
Yeah.
for pole, 36.2 for 35th place.
Wow.
And considering we've been doing almost all wet practice, no
Yeah.
dry racing besides what you do in your free time.
That is impressive.
I mean, that's also something because some people may not be as well equipped in D1 with the wet.
There's
So-
sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead. I was kind of done anyway.
I was gonna say, last 2 seasons ago, when we had Hungaroring in the wet, I believe. What was the lowest division then? Because that's where I
Well,
was.
2 seasons ago was Division 3.
Division 3. Wow.
3.
Yeah.
That was because that was my.
Season 3?
That was in the summer, right?
Uh,
July
yes, I believe so.
ish. Because that was
Yeah.
my first season. Or that was my first time ever playing ACC, and it was my first season here. And we had a wet quali, but a dry race, and that messed with people big time.
Well, here's something even to add to that. Every division was a dry race when it was
Yes,
supposed to
yeah,
be a wet
yeah,
race.
yeah. That also did happen.
Yes.
That started the SRA wet
Yeah.
meet.
So, and every track had a 2% chance of if any chance of dry at any point. Not a
Full
full
dry.
race, but
Oh no,
at some point it could be dry. Um, that 2% happened in every race.
correct.
And the same weather settings were set for this race as well. So we didn't get as lucky.
It was more funny when I don't know what settings they use for Suzuka, but that was supposed to be, they're like 80% chance of like mixed rain or mixed
Hmm.
weather. Like, oh, rain is gonna happen for the 8 hours of Suzuka endurance race a while back, and it was full
Yeah.
dry too.
Yep, I remember that. That was not the last endurance race, but the second to last, I believe.
Second best.
And then
Yeah.
we
Name a
did
better
a very similar formula for Indy, and we got 20 minutes of rain and nothing.
Nope.
name a better combination, SRA and rain.
SRA
I
and unpredictably small amounts of rain.
Yeah, the 2%. Hashtag 2%ed.
Hashtag the 2%. Never mind the
Hash-
1%.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think now that we're done that, I'm gonna fold up these notes and put them in the garbage. I'm done with Misano.
Oh, well, I kind of like the notes.
Well, my physical notes are gonna go in the physical garbage. Just
Yeah,
just
I
to
mean,
just to remove it. But yeah, it was okay. We produced some good racing, but like the feeling of driving that track in the wet, it is so you gotta be you gotta be so ginger with it.
oh yeah,
Like
you got to
so
be very
gentle.
gentle. Yes,
It feels
very
like
gentle.
driving dry Indy.
Yeah.
And I was done with that.
At which hour were you done with Indy though?
um,
Where we
honestly,
started the 8 hours?
no, I would say at about 7.5.
That's impressive.
I was like,
That's
okay, I'm done. It was about when I realized I wasn't gonna catch Evan. I'm like, okay, just bring it home.
Yeah.
It's almost
I
bedtime.
was I was zoning out of Indy 20 minutes into the race 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, imagine doing the 8 hour endurance by yourself though.
Yeah, no, I don't know how
Psychotic, you would say?
I
That's
don't know
very
how he did that.
yeah.
That's insane.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't like have a bunch of coffees or anything like that. Like I had my last coffee at work at like 5 or at 12, sorry. And then I was chilling and then
Casually.
started yeah, being chilling and then had my first energy drink like an hour and a half into the race. I opened it.
Hmm.
And then unfortunately, like an idiot, started my last one with an hour left. So I was wired till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Mm,
Okay, now here's the question everybody's wondering.
smart.
Okay.
When did the bathroom breaks hit? And how did you use your bathroom breaks?
The end of stint 3, I saved all my damage for the pit stop. Came
Oh,
in, so I
okay.
had a couple extra seconds. It wasn't too much. It was only like 4 or like 3 seconds just from like bumping the wall and shit.
Hmm.
But as soon as I hit stopped in my pit box, I just got up and sprinted
Sprint?
to the
Yep.
bathroom.
Okay.
Took a number 1 break and then came back. I was already late from the release, so I was like, okay. Had to put my gloves back on. I'm putting them like strapping them on while I'm going down the pit lane because it's so long. But yeah, that was the only time I
Yep.
needed to go.
That's impressive.
That is very impressive.
Well, like I was saying
Cause
to my mom, because she was like, you want to get loaded up on like snacks and drinks and stuff?" And I'm like, "Nah." She's like, "How are you gonna go to the bathroom?" I'm like, "The way to minimize bathroom breaks is to minimize intake. Only intake what you need. That way your body consumes it. It's not waste."
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Deep.
Little bit of
Very deep.
a little bit of
Wow.
science for you, but it's logical.
We're leaving the science up to Jan Roderick's.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? He's a qualified individual.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
we'll leave
just
that
some
to
guy
him.
over here wearing a
Yeah.
Last Supper beer pong shirt for my SRA grid report photo.
Oh god. I didn't know if you were sitting there with a catheter shoved up your you know what
No, sir.
and just let it go, but
I'm not that
now we know.
crazy.
No, you wouldn't do it.
No, I'm saving that for next year's box 3 24-hour. Hopefully it
Oh,
actually
okay.
lasts more than
Yeah,
24
You mean
minutes.
the 24-minute?
If it actually goes, you mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if it works?
Well,
Yeah.
they should get on whatever we did. Shout out to everybody who helps sponsor and support the league, because through that support, like, not only do we have the servers that we have for the hot stints, the hot laps, the actual main servers with the strength that they are, we were able to invest in a one-off endurance server, essentially, that was, I think it was 5 or 10 times stronger than our main servers. So it could support like 3 or 400 connections to it. That way we would have no
Wow.
hiccups whatsoever. And
Yeah.
I think some people had like technical hiccups, but I don't think there were any network hiccups whatsoever.
Yeah,
I
that's
have a
really
hot
nice.
take.
Shout out to the support that everybody gives, because at the end of the day, that's what that money goes to, is supporting and keeping these servers going, because it's not cheap,
No.
especially with you
I do.
consider how many we have
Yeah.
Yeah.
31?
and counting, probably.
I think 31 is the
Four
official number right now.
4 main, 20 something hot lap, and then the Paul Ricard hot stint.
Yeah.
Bam. Some
Yeah,
racing
it's a
alliance.
lot.
Pick one, race, have fun,
Yep.
or check out the SRAP server, and where you can have a public join in, come on out, and no password. It's just a 20-minute rolling server, and anybody can hop in there. You don't got to be a part of the
Yeah.
Discord.
I will say I've only done one public race on that, and I am 1-for-1 on wins, so
It is
we
a
take it.
boatload of fun. I
It
think at the
is.
start of the season,
They
I
are.
spent a lot of time practicing, like doing my pre-race practice in there, just because you get used to driving around cars more and
Hmm.
driving the offlines. But you get you can get like 2 or 3 people in there for one race. Sure, it's a quiet one. The next race you're in there's like 10 people, 14,
Yeah.
servers full all of a sudden.
The one I did was when we did Coda last season. When it was supposed to be the night race, it never really got dark.
Oh yeah, the night race at lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Jumped into the public server, pitch black.
Oh,
Yeah.
now that would have
So
been fun.
You mean
it
how
was
it's
actually
supposed to
very
be?
fun. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like scenic tracks, I guess you could call it, like when you're driving nighttime. The very first night race we did for the league, we did Paul Ricard, I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, that's gotta be
And it's like,
boring.
what am I looking at? Sure, there's nothing out there, so you have no
Hmm.
references, which is pretty
Yeah.
tough. But to be honest, like night, something like night Nürburgring, night Suzuka, night
Oh, night
Coda,
Suzuka.
like where you're seeing all the trees fly past you, and you're seeing like
Hmm.
lights flick off stuff, and especially
One
when
of
the
my
track turns
favorites.
back on itself and you're seeing headlights shoot through like guardrails and stuff.
Hmm. For sure. I was gonna say that Suzuka Night is very good, but I also enjoy oh god, what's it called? Oh god. Why can't I think of the name right now?
What does it begin
All
with?
right,
We'll
let's run
play
through the
an
track
American
list
track,
from A to
American
B.
track, American
American
track.
track.
Seika?
Watkins.
Yes, the Glen Knight. The Glen Knight
The
is
Glen
one of
night
my
is a lot of
favorites.
fun too.
Yes.
I
I could
can't do
not
the
think of that
Glen
name.
evening. I will never do that
No?
again.
Because the sun?
The sun at the bus stop just makes me never want to drive a car ever again.
Well, you have issues with the bus stop anyway. Let alone the sun.
Hey bud, my line through there in every single car I drive is a drift, and you know what? As long as it works, I'm gonna keep it. That bus stop will be the death of me.
That
Yeah.
bus stop can just. Why should them do like a wet Watkins and then?
Oh buddy,
that bus
that'll be a dedicated drop race for me. I'll just give myself a stop, go 30. But it's 30 minutes.
Well, speaking of Laguna, we have Laguna this season, don't we?
We
We
do have
do.
Laguna coming up. Not Snetterton,
It's
but I
the
think it's the one after Snetterton.
penultimate. Is it?
I am I don't know if we want to talk about this real quick, but I am like super excited for the track list after the holidays.
Yeah,
Yeah, wet
the last 3
Barcelona.
races are gonna be
Barcelona,
a lot of fun.
Barcelona wet, Laguna, and Kyalami at night. I am
Kailami at lunchtime is gonna be fun.
Kyalami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyalami at 11 o'clock is gonna be sick.
Can we get a pitch black track plus?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Coda at that late at night was just ice cold, wasn't it?
I don't even think
It
so.
was. No,
I
it
think
was.
it was.
It got cold.
Because like I think part of the issue of why they didn't go too late is tire temperatures. Like it gets to the point that if you're not hot lapping the whole time, your tires are like 24 psi.
Yeah. I don't remember having that issue. I just know that you have to work the tires so much at Coda that it keeps temperature.
Fair enough. That is true. But yeah, we'll see how Kailami goes. That's gonna be interesting at night.
Yeah.
We've had
Evening.
it we've had it in the dry at daytime, we've had it in the wet, and now we're gonna
Yep.
have it at night.
Yep.
I also think that's a great track wet as well.
Agreed.
I only know how to drive it in the wet. Right?
It's
that the-
it's
Have we had
wild
it?
in the dry.
Yeah, we had that last season. I think you won it, did you not?
I did. No, I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. Did we do Kailami in the dry after that? No, I don't think so.
No, and the
Yeah.
dry was
No.
before that. It was
Yeah. So I haven't
2
done it. I
seasons
haven't
ago.
done it in the dry.
Yeah, that was season. That was not. I don't think we did
Season
it season
3?
3. I
Season
don't think we did.
wasn't season 2. Or was it
I don't think it was season
Season-
2, or I don't think it was season 3.
No, it was season 2. It was when I was teamed
Yeah.
up with Daihi because I took the left-hander chicane before the uphill right-hander, and I hit the
Mhm.
curb on the inside and my wheel disconnected.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah,
no bueno.
Oh.
I was parked on the racing track with no control over the game at all. I couldn't touch my pedals wouldn't register, my wheel wouldn't register. I couldn't pause the game. I'm like, I'm just rolling. I can't do anything. Please don't hit me.
Wow, that is
But,
pretty wild.
yeah, Kailami produces some really good racing, and like you said, the wet there is pretty goated.
Yeah.
The chicanes make it really fun.
The issue I always found for myself at Kailami is the straights with my Audi engine got me into so much trouble.
It's not too powerful there, and that main street's huge.
Yeah. Well, the Audi power always helped me out because it was so much quicker.
But now,
BOP is a little different now.
Yeah.
speaking of BAP, when's the new one coming out? That should be coming out in the next couple of months.
I was told the mid-season here.
Interesting.
You think before Christmas?
I thought it was around Christmas time, to be honest.
To the Google.
To the Google. That's just what I was told because when we were picking cars, we wanted to change, but we were told that this BOP update was going to come out mid-season.
It'd be the 2023 BOP, right?
Is that what it is?
Oh no, it would be 2022 BOP.
So we stood with the Audi hoping that it would get a buff because it got a huge nerf.
I have a feeling the Honda's probably gonna get hit. You know what? Okay. I would like. It's probably not gonna happen. But if if the McLaren can get a little buff, I would go back to that car.
McLaren?
Unironically, yes. That was the first car I ever drove, and then I swapped to the Honda because I was just so much faster in it.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, I've driven the McLaren a couple times. Well, because I had to do it I was getting ready for Spa before that race went up in flames, and I was enjoying it.
It's
just-
not
it
a
just-
bad car. It's just
It's
shit.
not a, yeah, it's not a bad car, but when you look at the times compared to other vehicles, it's slow.
You have to be Matt Lehman in order to do that.
Exactly.
Correct.
But what I will say is with how bad the Audi is and how many drivers are using it, a total of like 6 maybe, Taylor and I are sitting top of the team standings in the Audi, so
Shit.
It's not that bad.
There you go, buddy. Division 2 getting outclassed by Audis.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Bendy Brew Baby 438
Yes.
to the Badman's AMR at 410, and that's the likes of Jeffries and
Eric
Eric
Boardman.
Boardman. Eric
Yep.
hasn't had too strong of a season right now, but he's no slouch in that car. He knows
No,
the
he's
Aston very well.
very well. And
Very
I
well.
actually was racing against him at the last race in Misano. I was stuck between him and Jeffries actually. And every time I went for a move on Jeffries, Boardman was there to sweep in and catch me while I was lacking, but I was able to keep him at bay.
The beauty of teamwork. It's nice when you
Oh,
can coordinate with a teammate and do things like that. Intentional
yeah,
blocking.
you're not having that with Austin?
Well, we do. Austin, it was nice to
What-
see Austin come back this week and
Yes.
Yes.
jump back
The one week
past
he
Luca
comes
in the
back.
standings.
Stop. Is he really?
Luca is 41st with 48 points, and Austin is 34th with 78 points.
Tell me, how do you feel?
Skill issue?
How do I feel? I had some unfortunate races. Getting up to grips with competing with people, that are at the same pace as I am. So learning curve. It's all part of the book. I mean, not book. It's all part of the plan. It's our plan.
Sometimes
fun.
that curve plateaus and turns into a straight line, though.
No. It's all.
I'm
part of the
hitting
plan.
that point. I hit that tail end of last season.
Bro, you've been killing it this season, though.
I know, but it's the Aston and luck. Like, I don't know. I'm in a weird position in the SRA
He's in
rating,
a-
like,
he's
because
in
of
a
the
limbo.
pace. Like, not to toot my own horn, but my own self-assessment of my driving is like I have very horrible qualifying. Sometimes I can pull out one lap. Like during our
Nürburgring.
practice race on Nürburgring, beautiful.
All I'm saying though about Nürburgring though is, if Mr. Sir was not in D2 still, you had pole. All I gotta say. That's
Yeah,
all I gotta say.
but I still fucking shit the bed, so it doesn't
Because
matter.
you were nervous.
Yeah, get good, scrub. But
Exactly. Same thing
Yeah,
with
bro.
Suzuka.
Yeah.
That's a skill issue.
exactly. But like my point is that like my quali speed is like D1 and my overall pace, or sorry, my quali speed and my overall pace is D2. But like I would say that I'm up near that upper half of D2, or like upper 10 of D2, like bottom 10 of D1, like racecraft wise. And I think that's what serves me my luck in the races. Like I don't think it's an actual skill gap. I think it's just, luck and practice and seat time and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think D2 and D1 are the same racecraft. I just think D1 has a quicker pace.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in D1 that have an extremely large amount of confidence in their car. And when you can't match somebody's confidence going into a corner, that's when it starts to feel scary.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I relate to that a lot.
When people
I
go
f-
for moves and they're just absolutely stuck, and you're like, if I tried that, I'd be all over the road right now.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't most of you could say that D2 are the people that jump cars, and D1's mainly people that just stick with one car? Do you see? Is there usually big movement?
I would
seasons?
say D1 changes cars quite a bit. Especially like Matt Lehman changes. Mr. Fimbres Casas changed, and look what he's doing. He's
He's at the
lower bottom. Yeah, he's very bottom of D1 right now.
I don't think he's practiced a lot though.
Which in this car, in the Audi, you do need a lot of practice, just because it's such a roller coaster of threat to kill you kind of thing.
Definitely.
Say
I
it.
drove, it was a while back, but I drove the Audi back when we were supposed to have the driver swap series.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a couple laps of practice, and I'm like, I hope to God I never have to drive this car. It was at Imola. We ended
Well,
up
the
winning the
ironic
race.
thing the ironic thing, the driver swap was before it got nerfed with the last BOP.
Oh, this was before it got its Evo that I drove this.
Oh, this was a while then.
Yeah.
Was this before the Evo 2?
Yeah. Like
The
this is like
drivers-
That might be
SRA
why.
season 1 territory.
Yeah, that might be why then.
Yeah, and I
Because
was
the
just
Evo
very
2.
displeased. But that's what I'm finding with a lot of these cars is now that the
Mhm.
BOPs are changing, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think partially there's so much interest in the games that the companies are trying a little bit harder
Yeah.
to make sure that the product's good.
Yeah, for sure. I do remember like season 3, I think it was. I would say half the grid was Audi Evo 2.
Yeah, I remember that. And then there was the one season where it was almost all McLarens.
That might have been the next season.
I think so, because the McLaren was just stupid fast in a straight line for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the next season. And then it got like the speed got nerfed, but the cornering got buffed or something like that.
Last season, I think, or
Can't
last
remember.
season or the season before, there was the sneaky upgrade of the NSX that wasn't really posted, but was posted.
Yeah.
And people hopped on that, and it became very competitive in the back half of the season.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the new cars are going to be coming out with the new BOP.
What's the new car?
The Ferrari, the Lambo,
Oh, yes.
The
Oh, we're getting
Porsche?
the new editions of the cars?
We're getting a new Evo Lambo. We're getting the updated 911. We're getting a brand the 296, I think, the Ferrari, and then the GT2 pack.
I was gonna say, is the GT 2-pack involved in this as well? I do remember that was coming beginning of 2023.
Bro, no
If that's
way.
if
My
that's the
wallet's
case,
open right now.
Oh, mine too. Yeah.
Where did you find that? Send the link in the chat. I want to look at this.
they should be coming out at the same time.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
It makes sense to put all this stuff out. I mean, if you're gonna make me open my wallet, make me open it once.
Yeah, don't just tickle me and make me spend $45 and split it up 5 times.
There's nothing better than you setting the prices and also immediately giving me a bundle package, aka,
Hmm.
putting them all out at once and going like, look at how much cheaper I'm giving it to you for it this way.
Yeah.
Because then I'm gonna jump on it.
Do you think that they would release the 3 cars with the GT2 pack with the BOP at the same time? Or do you
I
think they would
mean,
spread it out? Because if they do it at the same time, then the new BOP isn't coming till after the new year.
the thing that I think about is how did they do it when they dropped the GT4 Intercontinental pack? Because that
Oh, and I
was
don't know.
4 tracks, or yeah, the 4 British tracks, all the GT4 cars, and I'm assuming a BOP update. Because you would have to adapt to the new tracks.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
That's one thing I'm sad is that we're not getting any new tracks with this pack. Allegedly.
You know what? I'll take cars, man. Still variety. Especially GT2. Like, that's relearn, like, different classes. It feels like you relearn the track in different ways.
Yeah.
I think we've hit the end of the rope, fellas.
I think so.
You got anything to add there, Tsutsiki boy?
Oh. For anyone that is looking to get into the direct drive market, Moza has unlocked the R5 from the bundle. You can now get it separately. So if you want to save some money, I believe that's the cheapest direct drive wheel on the market at the moment.
How much?
It's right there battling the Fanatec. If not, they're pretty close. But
I am
yeah,
not
that
sponsored.
Moza's been on the hunt. Yeah, no sponsorships here.
It's
Not
not
yet.
sponsored, but it's something that I've been like eyeing for since it came out. And I just didn't want the pedals because the pedals are poo poo.
Oh, well, there
And
goes the sponsorship.
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, let me try and
Anyway.
recover this.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
If you don't want to get involved with that, Logitech has released their very first direct drive.
And how much does that cost?
Oh, boy, would you like to know. I believe, I don't know if it's been released yet, but it has been announced. I believe the direct drive is going to be $1,500.
Goodbye. Hello, Sim Magic Alpha Mini? Yeah, I'll take one, please.
Dude, if I had
That's
the
literally
money
what
that
I'm looking at right now.
if I had the money, that's the one. I would get the mini, and
I'm
I would never upgrade ever again in my life.
I'm looking at that in the FX Pro wheel, but that's like $1,900 US.
I think the bundle I was looking at was $1,100.
Oh damn, maybe it was Canadian dollars then. Still a lot of
Maybe.
money, man. That's like what I paid for my fucking PC.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's sim racing for you.
Yeah, it is. It's a bottomless money pit.
All right. Before we go, question for the boys, the way we end this. Upgrade the wheel or triple monitor? What direction would you go?
Upgrade the wheel. I've already got a triple monitor, and it's not as cool as you think.
Right, but is the added perspective that useful?
No.
I don't think
Really?
so.
Being able to
I
check your
would
sides
do-
and look to this, like actually look at what's beside your car is not beneficial?
Personally, what I would do is I would go back. I mean, I've heard several people say that it's not that great, but I would go VR before I switch to a triple
I was
monitor.
just gonna bring that up because it's cheaper too.
It's cheaper and it's like more real.
I've heard that as well, but like I think to Evan Kim. So he did the 8-hour endurance with the VR headset. And
Yeah.
he's like,
Oh,
bro, I'm sweating like fucking crazy. Like I can't,
yeah.
it's just dripping on your face. You can't see what's going on. It's like, you don't need that. Discomfort, like, and the other thing is
Mhm.
like, I worry about buying one and then getting the whole like motion sickness thing. Because
Yeah,
to
that is a
borrow
big issue.
somebody's and set it up to sim race is kind of it's not hard, but I'm sure it's a bit of work.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of, if I remember correct, there's a lot of settings you have to do. It's not plug and play. There's a lot of fine tuning.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like video settings you got to change to actually make it look good.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, nothing against Evan, but if I was doing an 8-hour race, I definitely would not be doing it in VR.
Oh yeah, he's got the cojones to do that, but yeah, I don't know. I think about that and like the other point of like ACC wasn't built for VR, so yeah, it supports
Mhm.
it, but it's not like the quality's not there. It's like it's
Mhm.
not optimized for it. So
Yeah.
No,
maybe
it's
like I could go triples. Like I use multiple monitors on my desk on my like computer setup, and then switch to VR down the road. But like just the basic point of like yeah, like you don't find the added perspective is useful?
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you this question. When
Okay.
you say upgrades, are you talking about um
Changing my
your
wheelbase.
okay, your sim racing setup
oh,
instead of
your
your
base to
okay.
what? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Going
okay,
from the
so we're
CSL DD and like I want to go to the Magic Mini.
okay, well I
Uh,
have the DD2, so I can't say anything about other brands.
I'm
Uh
assuming you're at 8.
I'm not with the boost pack, and I don't want boost. I want to get rid of this sliding shaft that keeps disconnecting my wheel when I
Okay,
race.
I think you should get the base first. Honestly,
I agree.
you should get the base first.
Uh going back like just looking back to what I upgraded to, I am so glad I did it.
Yeah.
It was a performance improvement and I enjoy it so much more now that I have something that feels good and is like fun to use.
Yeah, and I know some people are the confusion. Just to reiterate, DD won't make you faster out of the box. It just helps you get
No,
more consistent. And
yes,
consistency will help you
with
Exactly.
speed.
get
It
faster.
it
They
gives you
say
more information from the game to create a more consistent drive.
mhm,
It's like going from the comparison in my mind is like going from a controller to a wheel. The amount of
yeah,
detail you have control over.
so much. Well, like I went from the uh G29 to the DD2, so like that alone right there is a big difference just from coming from non-direct drive to direct drive.
Yep.
And what I learned from the Switch was it's not about the tools, it's about the style. One thing that I've always gone by is smooth is fast.
Mhm.
to whereas if you're erratic, it's not as fast. So I mean, yes, the DD helps with the erraticness and the smoothness, but yeah, that's kind of my little quick go-to.
You should see my steering inputs.
Yeah.
And can you please record and show us?
It's, what's the things in caves that like there's the two forms, one forms on the ground, one forms on the roof, but mine looks like the one that forms on the ground. If you were to look at like
Oh, you're
left
talking
and
about
right as
what are
an
they called? Stalactites or something like that?
something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, bro, I look like 90s British touring car videos. Bro, I'm throwing the wheel all over the place. But the Aston is such a loosey goose that like you're literally fishing for where the grip is half the time in the corner.
See, I
Like
didn't have that issue.
I'll lean into a corner and I can feel the wheel load up and then it'll start to go light and I'll have to sift a little bit left and right to find where the grip actually is. It's that little bit of like being able to turn in more and find how much the understeer is. Like I don't know, it could just be like a smooth brain issue, but my in the mid corner I go like rally car.
I think that's your setup because when I was doing the 8 hours of Indy, I found so much grip with the Aston Martin compared to what I drive in the Audi. The Audi I'm fighting for an hour every race, to whereas the when I was in the Aston Martin, I just felt like I could get on the power, I can chuck it into corners and it would stick. There was just more understeer than there was in say like the Audi or the Porsche or the McLaren. But I definitely felt like and I don't know what setup you're running, if you're running like a Go setup or a Coach Dave setup or something like that. I don't know. It might have been setup issue or difference, shall we say, not issue. But I felt just so planted in that thing.
Yeah, it's I don't know, like part of me thinks it's driving style too. Like I do
Could
a
be.
like it's just a little thing. Like I don't do a lot of I don't do tire like sorry. I'm not scrubbing the tires, throwing the wheel back and forth, but I'm definitely
Mhm.
like walking off of optimal grip.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Huh.
I agree on the smoothness thing. There's a lot of tracks where I find that like Indy when I got into rhythm for the endurance, it was very much smooth as key. You
That's
just
how.
float the car back and forth gently, and the
Mhm.
tires will stay hooked up.
That's how Nürburgring was for me.
But I find my trouble in the fast stuff, like Imola, for example. Imola Sector 1, I'm throwing the wheel around. Just like,
I could see it.
because you throw it in and you get understeer. And I don't know, I guess I try and like, not straighten the wheel, but cut back on the amount of like tire scrub I'm getting
Yeah.
to the point that the tire hooks up again and then I'm pulling it back into the corner. And I don't know. It could be why I'm struggling to compete sometimes.
It could be. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
put
I'm
an
not.
overlay over this section where it's just SRA life talk slash tech talk slash Simrig opinion slash.
Yeah. And if you think it's our voice peaks, it's actually not. It's Josh's turn-ins.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just pinging it off the end of the steering rack. No big deal.
Yes. Oh,
But lads, I don't have anything left to offer, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of hungry.
I feel you, King.
That's
So,
fair.
so for now, it's good to be back to the Sunday release schedule. Fingers crossed we keep our uploader stays on that. But yeah, we've got something in the works hopefully for towards the end of the SRA season that I think is going to be really exciting. So keep your ear to the ground, and it might be a Christmas or New Year's announcement for everybody. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Hoot,
for
hoot, hoot.
now, it's been the boys, and we will see you next week.